Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today I titled this message, The Makings of a Bad Relationship. The Makings of a Bad Relationship, and I understand that some will listen to this audio because, well, it's not that their relationships are bad, but they do want to know what might cause a relationship to go from good to bad. And so this message will definitely answer that question. There are many things that we have all experienced if we've lived on this planet for quite some time when it comes to relationships. And of course, there has been those good things, but there has also been those bad things. I will talk about the bad things in this message, and then in part 2, I will talk about the good things. When it comes to the bad things, the makings of a bad relationship, start off where the things are very subtle, so you don't see what is wrong unraveling, okay, right before your eyes. You don't necessarily see it because if you have not fallen out of love with a person or have gotten to that place where you dislike them very, very much, you don't see that the relationship is headed downhill. In the past, there were times where I was still very much in tune to what my partners wanted. And so for me, I didn't see that there was some trouble until the trouble showed up in a bag, or the trouble showed up in a box, or the trouble showed up under a bed, or in a coat pocket, or over a phone. Okay. Then I would realize in that moment, this person doesn't like me or love me as much as he or she claims. Okay. And I say she because I had friends, not intimate friends in, that sort of way, but they were friends, and I would see that those individuals would end up being bad for me as well. So between the relationship with the men as well as the friendship with the women, I wasn't doing so well, especially being that I was not a believer at the time. Okay. Now, what some might find very difficult and very hard to understand is that even though you've given so much to a person, even though you have done all that you possibly could do, a person is still going to lose interest in you. A person is still not going to want to love you in the way that you ought to be loved. But you say, I did all these things and I'm buying this person and I'm there for him when he's down and out. I mean, this is just despicable. This is just so messed up. I mean, what kind of person is this? Well, if you listen to any of the messages dealing with trauma or emotional abuse or spiritual abuse or physical abuse or sexual issues and so forth on this channel, then you would know that people's issues is what makes them feel the way that they feel. Their personal issues. It's not so much you and what you're doing or not doing, but a lot of times it's because their personal dramas and traumas are interfering with a quality relationship, or potentially quality relationship. Okay. And as long as they want to hold on to what is familiar, as long as they want to reject the fact that they have the issues that they have, things are going to continue to spiral downward. No matter how much money you spend, no matter how wonderful of a person you are, no matter how involved you are with that person, the point is that they have their own set of problems, and you cannot save that person. I had to learn that years ago. You cannot save people, especially people who don't want to be saved. I mean, God using Jesus, using the Holy Spirit just to communicate with people is a challenge. So that as human beings, what we're faced with when we are trying to deal with individuals who are not the least bit interested in walking this walk. Okay. Now, the bad relationship And for some of you all, bad friendship, because maybe it hasn't gotten to that place where it's a serious relationship, but it is a quality friendship, at least for now. It's going to spiral downward when you start seeing that your partner or you is not giving one another enough time, attention, compassion, or respect. Okay? Every time something comes up, there's an attitude. Every time someone is using and abusing one's time, there's no apology. When one is trying to communicate his or her concern, attention is not given. When there are some unfortunate things that take place, a partner fails to show compassion. Okay? These are subtle things, but then they start happening more frequently. You got to know that something is different about the relationship. Then, of course, there are those who are not going to express their needs, their feelings, their goals, their concerns, their resentments, their bitterness, their upset, whatever. They will keep all of that stuff inside and then in time blow up on you. Okay? If you notice that there's an attitude and you ask, well, what's wrong? And the person comes up with excuses or doesn't want to talk about it. And then you come back and you want to talk to them and they still don't want to talk about it. Okay. There's going to be that slow build up over time that eventually becomes a major fallout. If you notice that there is a loss of, just tenderness, right? All before the person was being so sweet and so kind and so caring, and now not so much. And the person is not interested in being affectionate and so forth. The relationship is headed downhill. Okay? A person who has issue with you touching him or her, a lot of times it's tied to past sexual abuse. Okay? Doesn't necessarily mean it has happened to the person that you're with. Could have been some other things, but a lot of times people who have gone to psychiatrists, psychologists, and so forth have shared that they have been sexually abused, and that ends up affecting how they interact physically with a partner over time. So he or she may have been okay, been all right, and then you trigger something within them, didn't know that you triggered something, or somebody else triggered something, and now the person is withdrawn. There's also no eye contact, whereas at one point it may have been. There's also just a lack of passion, and there is no excitement, there's no fun, there's just pretty much a boring life with this individual. Okay? The bad relationship starts to really just show up when you're around other individuals as well. You may notice that the person is not acting like he or she cares about what you're saying, isn't attentive, averts eye contact. There's also some emotional as well as physical abuse that rises up. And you may dismiss it. You may say, well, there's no big deal, or this is no big deal. And, well, he just tends to be this way. And, well, I mean, as long as he's not hitting me, but yet he's saying negative words. Or, well, it was just one hit or just one slap or one push or one shove. Okay? I remember reasoning these sorts of things many years back. There's also just a lack of interest in what you are doing. And a lot of times there is just a lack of care. There's a rudeness. The person seems to be very much in tune to his or herself, but could care nothing about what's really going on with you, will not even bother to ask you how are you? How, was your day today? Okay. Very uncaring and not supportive during times where you need that support. And they will find excuses. They will just do some other things. They will say, well, can't you figure that out? Can't you, go there without me? Can't you find a ride? You don't need me to be a part of that. Okay. Some will not deal with any type of conflict that shows up. So there is an issue that arises and they are not going to speak about it. They're not going to share what upsets them, even though you can clearly see that they're upset about something. They're going to pretty much ignore you and everything that concerns you. When you want some time to be alone with this person, they are not going to give you that time. And then you'll notice that the relationship is also going downhill when they are expecting things from you that you can't give them. And it's almost as if they are sabotaging the relationship because they know you can't give them certain things. Okay. They may not even tell you what those things are. So now you feel like you have to read that person's mind. They don't ask you if you need anything. So they could be headed toward a store or to an event or what have you and won't even tell you. Once again, they ignore you, ignore your beliefs, ignore your desires, the things that you have expressed to them. They forget or could care less. They will lie. They will use all sorts of little games, mind games and so forth to amuse themselves. They may even act vengeful at times because they don't like what you said or what you did. And they may even try to change you in some way by telling you you could dress this way or dress that way and that would make me happy, or you could lose the weight, or you could change your hair color or what have you. And you might be that one that does all those things and the person is still not satisfied. As you are growing spiritually, mentally, physically, what have you, the person will try to figure out ways to stifle your growth. Okay. They will even interfere, say that you don't need to go to that class. You don't need to see that counselor. You don't need to go to church. You're fine just the way you are, but they're not the least bit showing you love or care. They will blame you for many different things. Okay. Including things that have nothing to do with you. They will ignore the fact that you have your share of issues. They may tell you all about their issues, but they will ignore the fact that you have had a rough childhood, or you have, your share of difficulties and you're working through them. They will just assume that you know what is on their minds, even when they haven't expressed what is on their minds. They will hold things against you, will bring up the past repeatedly. And of course, they will blow up some things that really don't need to be blown up, but they will do this sort of thing because it's almost as if they're convincing themselves that you are a bad person and that they don't need to be with you. Sometimes they do this sort of thing so that they have an excuse to go out and cheat. And they will frequently show that they are angry or resentful or bitter or jealous or just have all sorts of problems with you. Okay. So these are all signs that the relationship is bad. Okay. And that the person that you are with, or you might be that one, has reached a point where it's a wrap. There is no trying to do better. There is no trying to work things through. You may be the one that's trying, but the other person isn't. They're hoping that you will break up with them. For some people, that's what is exactly taking place. Okay. For other people, you haven't seen everything yet. And for others, you refuse to see the truth. You just really believe that everything is going to work out if you throw some money at it, if you, give it the best sex that you possibly can, if you can do this and do that. And at the end of the day, that is going on, that demonic presence in and around that individual is keeping that person from experiencing a good life with you. And also a good life for his or herself. Satan doesn't want children of light happy. Satan doesn't want children of light drawing near to the Lord, which brings me to the next point, because on this channel, we do talk about spiritual related things. So after you have seen all of these different things in this relationship that is spiraling downward, and it is bad, it is ugly. You might be on the outside looking in and seeing your friend go through so much. Okay. Or you may be in a friendship. It's not quite a relationship, but you're in a friendship and you're seeing all of these signs. Okay. It's a good possibility that that person doesn't have a quality relationship with the Lord either. And you might be that one too. So that's why it becomes even more difficult, because now you want to bring God into something, but that person's not sold out for God, and you may not be sold out for God. And so the Lord may just let this thing fall apart because he wants you to recognize that he is to be a God in your life and not man or not woman. Okay. And sometimes what happens is in these relationships, people put folks on pedestals and they will do anything and everything to keep a person in their life. They will become so consumed with someone. And meanwhile, if they had a relationship with the Lord, they abandon that relationship just so that they can be sold out for this individual, so that they can do everything for this person. And God does not want us abandoning our relationship with him to go chase after someone. Okay. That is what he doesn't want. And he has said in his word, he is a jealous God. So a lot of this could also happen with some people, especially believers, because God is jealous. And he sees that someone's spending a whole lot of time trying to save a relationship that is not going to be saved. They're trying to make an unequally yoked relationship be yoked, and that does nothing more than cause problems with one's relationship with the one true God, especially since he said that we are not supposed to be yoked with unbelievers. So I hope that this message just inspires some folks that if you are in a situation like this, that you will spend more time with the Lord and trusting in him and not in man and not in woman. And if you just needed just a bit of wisdom concerning a bad relationship, I hope that this message helped you. Well, that is it. Thank you so much, as always, for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to subscribe. Also, check the description box for anything that may be of interest. Blessings to you.